Mostly what I've learned has been about myself, which is surprising. I thought I'd be learning more about the world, but really I'm learning more about myself.
What I get out of it for the most part is that I feel like at the end of the day, I've made somebody's life a little bit better. At the end of my time in BVS, maybe I will have changed the world a little bit. Maybe I'll have changed myself enough to understand what I need to do next. I'm at a point now where I'm starting to build relationships with some of the guests as well, and so it's become more personal in that way. Like I come out of it knowing, yeah, well, Chicky got to eat today and he got some extra bread to feed the birds in the park, and Smokey came in and I got him some food today, and he doesn't always come in. You begin to worry when you don't see people for a couple of days.
I really like the fact that I'm doing hands-on work where I can see the effects of what I'm doing. I'm feeding people, I can see them. I think I'm just realizing that there's so many more aspects to life than you would realize otherwise. If I had just gone straight from high school to college, I never would have seen this side of America. I would have just been back in rural Ohio, studying and not really thinking about what is outside that box. It's a great thing. I love it.
The people here are all very real. That there's nothing extraordinary or strange or weird about people who are homeless. They just don't have a home. I schedule the kitchen crews who serve the meals, work with community service volunteers, procurement of food, making sure that pickups get done. I get to live out some of the things that we talk about in church on Sunday. I really think that the BVS lifestyle, it really is simpler. I have a roof and I have food. I got some clothes that I got from not even secondhand store the other day. These are from the giveaway, the free box. And it's definitely made a change in me as far as simple living.
You get an experience you couldn't get anywhere else. You have housing, you have food, you have a job. You're not going out into this great unknown. You get to see a whole other side of the country and see the culture from a point of view that's amazing.
There's a lot to learn from these people. Their attitude about life and their relationship to the land and to the world, and the gentleness that they have coming out of all the hardships that they've gone through, the violence, the oppression, and it feels neat to have built relationships with these people and to walk with them in their struggle.
I felt that strongly about needing to help others, and I'm so blessed and I'm so lucky that I can't take 1 year out of my life to serve others. That I should be taking 3, 4, 5, and 1 year, that's very little. It feels so good. You feel great at the end of the day knowing that you've helped people with mental disabilities who have a hard time just getting up and going out and eating breakfast. The biggest thing I do here on the farm, I think, I show these people that I'm not afraid of them, that I'm willing to work side by side with them every day. And even though they have their mental illness, that makes no difference to me, and I'm willing to be seen with them and I work with them.
A real gift of being here is being able to be a friend, to learn to know the core members as friends and to share some of their lives, because it makes you see things in a different way. It's humbling. You step back and you take things a bit slower and see that always rushing and achieving isn't so important.
Is not to provide legal counsel for you.
The focus here is on teaching people how to communicate, and that's sort of laying the foundation, helping them to be able to solve their own conflicts peacefully.
Everything I look at, I'll look at a little bit differently. And especially just walking down the street and walking by a homeless person, I think my attitude has changed so much, just actually meeting them and talking to them and not just seeing them out on the street and walking by. I grew up always having what I needed, and I just thought this would be a good time because I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, so I thought I'd get some life experience and to help a good cause.
You sit down with a soup line guest or family and reality really hits you because they've been sleeping in a car with their 1.5-year-old or their baby, It really opens up your eyes. They become your friends and family.
Everyone said to me before I left, you know, I can't believe you're going to Northern Ireland. Aren't you afraid you're going to be shot or blown up or something like that? It's no worse than anywhere else. There are certain times of the year where you just don't go certain places, but it's not some really horrible, dangerous place most of the time. Morning! This is a great experience because it gets them completely out of their environment. We usually do deal with their stereotypes. If it's a Protestant group, their stereotypes of Catholics. If it's a Catholic group, their stereotypes of Protestants. If we have a Catholic group and we do word association and the word Protestant comes up and everybody has a negative response and I say, me, that everybody looks at me, all of a sudden the kids, what do you mean you're Protestant? They're shocked because I'm not trying to eat them or, you know, do harmful things and I'm not evil incarnate. So it's really interesting because these kids begin to get an idea that maybe what they've been taught isn't necessarily the case.
This was an opportunity for me to live out my beliefs and my convictions in service and social justice. The main goal is to expose and to close down the School of Americas held at Fort Benning, Georgia. It's a school of assassins, a school that trains military dictators and human rights offenders, and as people of faith, conviction, and conscience, we cannot allow that to happen. And so the SOA Watch is organized to call for a close by organizing rallies that bring 10,000 of people. I think that's what a lot of service is about, is helping others have their voice be heard. And that's what Jesus called for, was a radical transformation of the human spirit. And I think that I've really seen that starting to happen in myself and with others throughout the movement and other people who serve.
I had a vision for a while that this was kind of a detour. You know, that I was going to take a time out and do BVS and then go back to whatever it was I was going to do, and I really feel like it's more a fork in the road, that this is a change that is going to mean something next year and beyond.
Getting into that volunteer kind of mode really changes the way that you look at the world, and it really becomes not so much something you do for a year or 2 years, but it becomes an attitude towards life and a way of life, really.
I always end up changing myself more than I change the world. I mean, people come into BVS to try and fix problems, but I think that it affects us a lot more than we affect things where we go. Most everybody I've met who's gone into BVS feels like they've had the same sort of experience. Like, people say they get more out of it than they give, and that's a growing process that I feel like everybody should do at some point in some way, and BVS is a good option for that.
The world has a lot to teach you, and this is the way to open the world up for your life. And when you see it through the eyes of the people you serve, there's hope for the world. And knowing that you're part of that, and knowing that you are being changed in the process, gives you another reason to wake up in the morning and to know that you're living a way that I feel I'm called to live.
It really makes a difference, and it makes you think harder about life and how we treat people in society.
I know that I am here to serve others and not just myself.
It's in the relationships that I have learned more of myself.
It's not always glamorous, but there is a sense of achievement when you know that your work has allowed thousands of others to speak their minds and to act on their conscience.
I've met so many wonderful people, like my community members who I live with.
There's a really huge diversity of different walks here. I get to walk with some of them for a while and to try and just accept people where they're at and try and be supportive.
You're on cloud nine. It's a great feeling.
When I go back, what I will do, it needs to have a meaning for me.
The biggest person that's changed is yourself.